Welcome to the Lodo Network, where we help businesses connect with their audience in their 50 plus years. I call it the more mature audience, who are all great spenders while growing forward with time, aka aging. We broadcast on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and my Facebook pages under Living One Day Older. I'd love for you guys to get on there and follow me, and I'll follow you back. We schedule these talks on Saturdays, 12 noon. You can find them on my LinkedIn on the top under features if you want to check it out, and if you want to join the show as well. My guest today is a brand strategist, copywriter, and founder of Core Story. Aleyx Ward helps big-hearted businesses connect with their ideal clients by helping them craft their brand's compelling story. So hello, Aleyx. Let's get her on.
Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Things are good over here. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Bit cold here. I'm in Melbourne, middle of winter, so nice and cold.
Oh, yeah. And we're the opposite. I'm in Florida, and it is summer and warm. And we've got some, what's the name of it? It's a hurricane out in the Caribbean right now, which is close to us, but anyway,
Yeah.
barrel is barreling down somewhere. So hopefully all of you out there in the Caribbean world are hatched down and being safe. But so Aleyx, what is behind a good story?
Oh, behind a good story, you got a few things. So you need, first of all, a compelling character. Doesn't always necessarily need to be a likable character. Many good stories are you learn to love them, and you need a hero in the story who's trying to overcome something, lots of obstacles, and usually there's a guide that helps them on their way, and usually for most stories there's a happy ending. So that's the main crux of any story, be it novel, film, and your brand story.
Well, and there with a brand, I mean, the happy ending is a solution that you as a business owner or a leader, if you're working for a corporation, it's the solution is the hero. Well, or I don't know if it's the hero, but it's definitely the happy ending, right?
Absolutely. So I can break it down a little bit for you. So within a brand story, the customer is the hero of the story. So many brands get that wrong and they present themselves as the hero. Your customer is the hero and they've got that problem. So it's figuring out what is that problem that your customer has. And then the guide that comes in is your brand and the solution to that problem. And that's usually how you would try to break it down when it comes to a brand story. So yeah, number one is remember that the customer is the hero, not you.
That is a really great point, because that is what the difference between I don't want to put a category, we always use the term used car salesman, when quite frankly, I buy used cars from used car salesmen. And one of my favorite ones, I'm a repeat client of his, because he's very knowledgeable and he shares his knowledge. I mean, this guy is really knowledgeable. But, going back to my point and your point is, we often confuse that, thinking that the hero is me and what I have to offer, and let me show off me and my product. And it's sort of like a slow down. All right, let's do a step or two before that. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really common, as a brand and as a business, you want to show your value and show what you can do, but actually it ends up putting off your ideal clients or customers because you're coming off too strong. So you need to show that you can relate to them, you can empathize with them, understand their problems, and then you start to talk about the solutions that you have. And that's why I believe brand is all around storytelling, and being able to tell a really good story and craft it well, and keep it short as well. Sometimes when you go on websites, there's a lot of words and it becomes really confusing. Make it simple for your customer to understand what you want them to do.
That relates back to social media posts as well. I have somebody that I am very much a fan of their brand. I'm pretty connected to it. And this person can become very wordy. And,
Mm.
I get you want to bring up, say you're in partnership with a couple of people, or you go to an event, right? There's the thanking of them can be done in I want to thank, and then you can tag them all, as opposed to, I want to thank so and so because they did this, and then I want to show, I showed up at so and so's place, and it just goes. It starts to grow on, and you're like, okay, I don't know what our attention span is these days. You probably have a better grasp on that than I do, but I do know that.
Like 5 seconds.
Okay. Well, there you go. So, matter of fact, me explaining it probably just lost some people. All right, we get it. Because it's just too much. So. That takes you to, you've got a really cool newsletter that attached to your site that I was going through. And just now that we're touching on that, you've got some copywriting tips that we're kind of touching on a bit right now. Shall I, go through and let you just kind of give me a one liner or whatever on some of these tips? Because they're really helpful, Aleyx.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Some
right.
key copywriting tips would be, first of all, keep your customer.
I got one for you. I'll start them off.
Right, okay, sorry.
No, I'll start them off and you just answer. So copywriting tip number 1 is, if you're bored, they're bored.
Yep.
Right? Copywriting tip. You want to say something on that?
Yeah, I would just, for that, whenever you write something, and this is what I do, I get it out, I get it all out, then read it back out loud. And as I say, if you're bored reading that, get rid of it. If it does this, do you really need this? Is this adding to what you're trying to do? No, get rid of it. So it's in the editing phase, and always read it out loud. That's a really big one.
Boy, does that help me out tremendously. And when I don't, I end up, hurting a little bit. So yes. And if you're trying to be smart, you're trying too hard. I like that one too.
Absolutely. I see this a lot with, people that want to be a thought leader in their field, and they really want to impress. Again, you're just turning people away. If make it easy for them to read. Nobody needs to know how many long words just make it clear. Speak, write as if you're speaking, is a really good one as well.
Yeah. And if it does, going to your tip number 3, if it sounds too clunky out loud, change it.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've already gone over the reading out loud part, which is, everybody do that when and including with your LinkedIn posts, please. Some of them are like books, and they don't need to be books. That's what contacting you is about. That give them something, when they contact you, then you can open up conversation and carry on that way, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's sore on your eyes, break it up. This one is, you can have a lot of fun with this one. It can be the creative side of putting content mixed in with some mixed media. You want to touch on that one? Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, being the storyteller, mostly I use words, but I break it up. I don't like long paragraphs, nor do people reading it. If it looks like it's going to be too hard to read, they're not going to read it. So break it up. Don't be afraid to have, a slightly longer sentence than a short sentence. You can have one short sentence as a paragraph. I do that a lot when I'm writing. It just makes things easier on the eye. People like to skim read, so make it easier for them to skim read. People aren't going to read everything, but they'll read the things that stand out. So break up your text. I do sometimes use video as well to get the message across and some imagery. But when I'm talking there, I'm talking more about breaking up the paragraphs and your shorter and longer sentences.
Yeah, and that, and then with their takeaway from that short little, content that you've just put out, how do you want to make them feel after they read the copy? Do you want to make them feel thought-provoked, inspired, Do you want to make them feel hungry? I don't know. What do you want to make them feel? That's on your brand. So
Yes, yeah. And also, if I can just add to that, what do you want them to do? So I see a lot of really good content out there on LinkedIn, and it just ends. I'm like, oh, okay. Tell them what that you want them to do. Do you want them to comment, ask a question?
guilty. I'm so guilty of that. Thank you for reminding me.
Or do you want them to subscribe to your newsletter? Ask. A lot of people are too scared to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. So tell people what you want them to do, and ask. You might even want them to, sign up to you or buy from you. Why not? Just put it out there.
Yeah. Our audience here is your 50 plus audience who are more mature and have a wealth of experiences in their rearview mirror and a wealth of curiosities in their windshield. I don't know if they call that in the Australia or in the UK, but the windshield. What do you guys call it over there? The windshield.
I think a windshield.
Oh, it's so funny the way you say that. No, I'm kidding.
I'm British. I'm pretty sure we call it a windshield, or everyone's going to be laughing at me now.
No, what's the movie? What's the movie? This the Christmas movie that we all watch. Oh my gosh, Love Actually.
Oh yes.
And the girls in Wisconsin are asking the fella, how to say words, and they're like, "Oh, that's funny," and then he says a certain word. It sounds just like theirs. They're like, "Oh, it's the same." The messaging out there, though, is still also the same. Finding your why. So if you are a hotel and you have the little chocolate on a pillow at the end of the night, and we all know that excites every single one of us. We love being in a hotel that drops a little mint on the pillow, but it's not really the chocolate, though, is it, Aleyx? It's not a chocolate on a pillow. It's what is exciting me about that, and what is that hotel saying by doing that one small consistent move to move on us. What are they saying? And that's what is their.
So that little chocolate on a pillow is showing that they care, showing that they're being thoughtful. In terms of a hotel, there's lots of different hotels, and each hotel, if they want to stand out and have a compelling brand, what they really need to do is ask themselves, okay, why do people come to this hotel? What are people getting out of this hotel? Because one hotel is going to be different from another. So if you're a luxurious hotel, and people come to you for, that 5-star treatment, then, people are coming to you for luxury. They're coming to you to, feel like they can just let loose and be completely weighted on hand and foot. So your brand story is going to be very different from a hotel at the airport where they're just coming from respite, in and out. You're going to have a very different story. So it's really looking at why are people coming to visit you, and then building it out from there.
Yeah, it's igniting an emotional spark in us, isn't it? It's
exactly.
What is that? It's, again, I could when I was in Thailand, I was eating mangoes on the beach and getting massages over there, and it wasn't really like I've got mangoes over here, I get massages over here. But I'm telling you what, I remember those mangoes with, the way they make them. It doesn't even matter. We've got the spices over here, but it's nothing like getting a massage on the beach in Thailand. And why is that? And that's
Thai massages are very good.
they really are. Let's just say it. They just are really good.
Yeah.
I could go on with those stories. Massages in Thailand are just beautiful. Yeah, on the beaches. So, we've covered a couple of ground: copywriting and how people can brand their message and why before target audience.
Just going back to what you were saying before about your audience, and things have changed in the past not even 10 years, a year. And I think when a lot of people are starting their business and they're trying to attract their ideal clients, people become very overwhelmed and a little bit confused about, okay, well, where do I need to be? Do I need to be everywhere? Do I need to be on TikTok? Do I need to be on Instagram? Do I need to be on Facebook? And it's overwhelming. And I think to answer that, it's where are your ideal clients? And if you don't know, find out. So when you're having conversations on channels, who's engaging with you the most? Where are you getting the most traction? And then double down on that channel. You don't need to be everywhere. But also, if you're a little bit overwhelmed with all the channels and things aren't quite working, go back to the start, go back to your message. Is your message clear? Because I find a lot of people go out and they try a lot of different marketing tactics and they try to be everywhere. But then when you look at their message, it's not clear. So you might be attracting people and then they come to your website and they don't understand what it is you offer or what it is that you want them to do. So I go back to basics and work on that message and make sure your brand's really clear before you try and push it out to the world.
I think you and I need to have a conversation after this, Miss Aleyx. Of course, before we say our farewells, I would love to know what action plan you have for our Lodo listeners.
Yeah. I've actually got a freebie I've been working on, and you audience will be the first to hear about it and be able to access it. It's still not on my website. I'm building out my landing page at the moment, but what I've put together is what I'm calling a content structure, because I found with the clients that I've worked with, we work on their brand message, we get a framework so it's really clear what they need to do next, but then they might go away, and if they don't use myself to do copywriting on their website, etc., they're like, okay, well, what now? What's next? So I felt people needed a bit of a structure. So I've put together a really clear structure, asked you a couple of questions. What do you want to be known for? Who are you trying to target? And then it asks you to break down in terms of your genre, your readership, and the topics, and then how you can post that out onto social media. And those things to remember, like we talked about, what's the emotion you want to evoke? What's the action? So every time you create a post, you have that as your guideline to make sure, okay, am I staying on brand? So I've got that available. As I said, it's not even on my website yet. So if the audience would like it, just email me. I don't know if you can drop it in the comments or something, my email address, and I will send them a copy, and that will be a great way to help them just get a consistent tone of voice.
Absolutely. I'm going to drop all of this in the comments and in the post, which I will post on Saturday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. That's USA. So in Australia, it's like 2 a.m., but that's okay. When you wake up, it'll be there.
Yeah.
And I also want to remind everybody, you've got a really great newsletter. I love the way it reads. It's so simple and just chock full of really great branding information. So that's corestory.com.au/blog.
I was just going to say that some of my older newsletters, if they want to subscribe to the weekly newsletter, you can do so in my LinkedIn profile.
Oh, for sure. Then I will post what you want me to post. So
thanks.
Thank you very much, Aleyx. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Aleyx. And yes, thank you. So Lodo curates relationships, and we connect affiliated partners with their more mature audience who are big spenders, you guys, who seek out products and services from you to fulfill their varied lifestyles. So we look forward to stay in touch. If you all need to get your message out, contact me on LinkedIn, Messenger, or on one of my Facebook or my Instagram page, Living One Day Older. Stay well, take care of yourselves and one another. Ciao for now.